friends, welcome back to the Jazz Rant. Here's something that's really easy to learn and practice. You're soloing on a pentatonic scale with just 2 chords, and the backing track will be available to you if you'd like. So here we go with the funk groove. Starting out, I want to say that this is an easy way to practice improvisation if you're a beginner. All you need to learn is 1 scale and 2 chords, and the voicings are very easy. So like it's a C minor 7, actually it's a C7 sharp 9, because they're playing a 3rd there, and a sharp 9 up here and a flat 7. And then I'm moving that down a half step, which becomes an F13. Now it depends on what bass note you're playing, of course, but on the bass backing track it's a C to an F. So that's the C, 7 sharp 9, and with the F in the bass, that's an F13. There's the 7th, there's the 3rd, there's the 13th on top. So it's a very easy move. Now it's 1 measure each, or depending how you count, it could be 2 measures, but it's cut time. The scale I'm using, the underlying scale that I'm keep going back to, is a C minor pentatonic. Now that's C minor relative to E flat major. E flat major pentatonic is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So if I start on the C, which is the 5th mode, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th mode, the scale is, so that's 1, calling it now, relating it to C minor, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Very easy scale to play. You can work out your fingering, you know, like if you want to, like that, or I'd probably go like, that's the best one there. But you don't need to play runs that are like that. You can play like just licks off of that scale, like. So that's the way you want to organize it. Now I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. At any rate, continuing, you have that 1 scale and you want to keep going back to it. But when I wanted to expand upon it, I could change the voicing in the left hand, and then I would have different notes I could play or different ideas I could play in the right. So I went from that chord now to this chord. Now that changes it from a C7 sharp 9 to a C9 with a sus4. You see, now you can. And then I started to play more like bebop licks, like that. And then I would go from there to maybe this chord, F7, with a flat 9. Then I could put that D in there. You see that D? It's like a D chord. So that expands it in terms of what the ideas that I can play. And the other voicing I used was taking this up to the 3rd inverse. This is, of course, the This is the first inversion of a C minor or a C7 sharp 9. This is the third inversion of the F13. So I could go up here to the third inversion of the C minor and then the first inversion of the F chord, you see? So just changing those inversions. So now I could get different ideas here. You see? And then the third idea I went into was to go from this chord to F minor 9. You see, it's not affecting the backing track because they're just playing C to F. So I can change the quality in the right hand and get different ideas happening. So that's when I began to expand and use an F minor and scales, different scales. So that's really a fun thing you can do with this particular backing track. Talking briefly about the outside playing, if you learn the pentatonic scale or the minor pentatonic scale in different keys, then you can insert them at different points in the improvisation. But you want to make sense of them. So the easiest ones would be the C minor or the F minor or the G minor pentatonic. See, I use that a lot actually because that puts that D into the scale. So you go between the G and the C. If you go more chromatic or like on the opposite side of the cycle of fifths, like maybe A, gets really interesting sounding, you know, like because it's or E could be, let's see. Now you want it to make sense, so you want the ideas to flow into each other, like. See? So now that's very subjective saying. You have to put it in context of the playing, but you can expand your ears that way to hear that sort of thing, or try it out, see how it sounds. But you want to organize it in a way that makes sense, that one idea leads to the next, and they're good phrases. Okay, we'll wrap up. Signing off from the Jazz Ranch, thanks so much for joining me. Please write to me or send me some feedback. I love to hear from you, and I'll always try to respond. So until next time, I'll say, swing loose, and we'll see you next time around. Bye-bye.